Hello, you are watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I am going to start with this Animal Spirit Oracle. I kind of fell off the reading train towards the end of last year, and so since it is January and it's all about starting new intentions, I might do a few more readings. So this is a reading for January 2022. If you're new to this channel, I've been doing this kind of sporadically for a while. I'm not really aspiring to be a tarot reader. I'm just really into tarot, and I am actually a vegan cheesemaker. So I just do this for the love of tarot. Woo, there's lots of love. Okay, this is really cool. So I pulled from the Animal Spirit. On the bottom of the deck, we got the owl. So this is like a wise messenger. The owl is also like, it can mean like a message from your ancestors, but there's definitely wisdom here. And then we have the tiger, which is like just this powerful female energy. It's sort of like she just got this moon on her head. I'm just gonna pull out the book so I can show you like what's going on with the tiger, because it's really interesting. We've also got, hold on, I don't want to take too long just like flipping through the book. Okay, it's the lunar force, it's ease in darkness, and it's the feminine energy. The tiger hunts at night, is at one with the silence, fearing nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. And then we have the swan, which is this sort of like, it's almost like we have our ancestors watching over us as we go through this sort of transformative moment where we have to like walk through the darkness, but it's like this transformative moment where we will emerge as the swan on the other side of it. So that's really interesting. And I think also in the context of the annual reading that I also just did, which I'll try to link up here, and it was all about this theme of like this just destruction of the old way of being, and like there being like two paths, you know, like one of inner transformation and one of, you know, just like the falling into fear and darkness. So it's interesting. Like it's all about sort of taking this sort of spiritual journey. So this kind of speaks to like the guidance being there to walk through the journey. And I'm going to pull some more cards from the tarot deck just to get some more clarification about what's going on. And I'm using the Muse Tarot. And what's interesting is the first card that I pulled out was the Six of Swords, which is all about this crossing this bridge over troubled water, you know, and going from a bad situation to a better situation. So it's really kind of confirming what I just said. And then the next card that I got was the World. So it's super interesting. I mean, the World card actually, it flipped out upside down with a whole stack of stuff. So I'm going to keep picking cards to get some more like context about that. Oh, okay. There's a story emerging here. A few more cards. Hope you guys had a happy holiday. Oh my gosh. This month looks like it's going to be rocky. I will tell you. I mean, I for sure have been going through like this super spiritual situation. It's like, and I think a lot of people are going through this in this era of COVID, you know, because it's just like we've all been trying to adapt, and like we keep having these like trying to go back to the way things were, but it's just like not really working out. So it's like every time like things start to settle, like there's this new earthquake, and like it's like, no, another COVID flare up, like it's not going back, you know, like we can't go back, like there's no way out, like the only way is through. So like we all have to go through this transformation, and it's like everyone's worn out, like this has been going on for a long time, and I think people just want things to settle. And so it's interesting because like I think there's like this hope that like it's just going to end and then things are going to go back to normal, but I think it's really going to be like a much more long drawn out passage, you know. Oh, okay. Well, it ends on a good note, but it looks like a really rough month. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck we got the three of swords. So this is like this card of like heartbreak, but there's like some like hope, because it's just sort of like this person is like it's like kind of having like a reality check, and so you're sort of having to like adjust your expectations to like the way things really are, and that's really painful, but it's like a necessary step on the road to this like change. It's like she's hiding behind this door, and there's this light trying to shine in, but there's almost like this door where it's just like sort of like you're in denial about the way things really are, because there's this sort of dissonance between the way you want things to be and the way they really are. And so we're kind of having to cross that bridge, you know, to get there this month. So that's why I think this month is going to be like super dramatic. And actually the annual reading spoke to that too. So we have this end of this era, this end of the cycle, but it's upside down. So it's almost like we're getting there, but there's this huge obstacle that's sort of like blocking this passage, you know, like from really truly like we're gonna have to go through some rough stuff to get there, you know. And that's followed by the Five of Wands, which is this card of conflict and tension, you know, like there's like opposing viewpoints, you know, and at the end of the day, like one of them is going to prevail, you know. And so, but that's kind of like what's blocking the path forward. Like it's like you're either in alignment with the truth or you're not. And this is sort of like this moment of truth, you know, if you will. And so that's followed by the Ten of Swords, Ten of Voices. So it's just sort of like, it's like the end of suffering, because there's going to have to be this acceptance of like how things are and how we're going to move forward. And it's harsh. It's like really, really harsh. I mean, we've got the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords coming out in this reading. But I mean, when I did pick up the Three of Swords, I did get like the Ace of Cups underneath. So it's not all horrible, but it's definitely going to be really harsh, you know. But it's almost like once we clear the landscape of this illusion that's sort of been blocking progress and get back to work, like it's like now our efforts can be moving towards something tangible instead of just this futile effort that's like, you know, like example, like with the COVID thing, it's just sort of like we all want to go back to how things were, and every time we do, we get this another COVID surge, and there's this like another setback, and it's just like, oh, what do we do, you know? And we've been going back and forth on this for like 2 years, you know. And so like at a certain point, like I think in order to like move forward on a solid foundation, there's going to have to be a certain acceptance that like things have just changed, you know. And so in order to not be going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We're gonna have to like adjust our expectations to this new harsh reality that we're all living in. And like, it's like, that's the foundation that we're gonna have to be working on, working on, like, in order for us to not like have all these setbacks all the time. So it's just like, by clearing the slate and just like actually finally accepting things the way they are, we can finally go to work, and like have it be a solid effort. So it's interesting because under that we have the wheel. So it's just sort of like the wheel of karma, where it's just like there's this acceptance. And so like there's these sort of like opposing realities, and at the end of the day, like one's going to be on top and one's going to be on bottom, and we're just going to have to accept it for what it is so that we can move forward. And then after that, we have the seven of pentacles, seven of materials. So like that's when we're actually starting to plant seeds that are going to be fruitful in the future, instead of just like, going back and forth and back and forth. And so like, I think January's kind of about like waking up to this new reality and finally accepting it. And then we have the sun. So it's like da 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 da, but in order to get there, we gotta accept this harsh reality. So that's kind of January. I'm gonna go to the Shaman's Dream Oracle to pick a final card for this reading. And if you like this reading, thanks for checking it out. I'm somewhat consistent with the readings. I actually have a lot of other interests that I do, but I love the tarot. So please feel free to come back and click subscribe and check out further readings. They're all kind of general readings. I don't really do zodiac signs or anything like that. I kind of link other storylines at the top of the readings oftentimes. So sometimes I'll do that. Oh my gosh, that is so fitting. Okay, so the card that we got was the Crossing. How fitting is that? Initiation. So I'm just gonna like read from the book, and so I can give you the most. I love this. This is a deck with Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron-Reid, and I am a super huge fan of Alberto Villoldo. So this is a rite of passage. It's initiation. You have come to stand on one side of a river. The opposite bank leads into the darkness of the eternal cave, where the old dies and then is born again. This is a place where time is forgotten and the seasons cease their dance and stand still, as if in a temporary repose. You must cross the river now, honoring and respecting this transition, for it's time to say goodbye to your old ways of navigating your world. Don't be afraid. You've come to the edge of the river because you're ready. You're ready to let go of what doesn't serve you and all the ways in which you've kept yourself from truly living. Intimacy requires vulnerability and truth. Can you strip away the masks and the barriers of false strength to discover what you are really made of? Step into the boat waiting for you. Let it carry you into the cave where the shadows are waiting to be illuminated so you can be born again into the world without denial or artifice. Making the crossing is a beautiful, powerful act of the highest love. Wow, that's super powerful, and I feel like this is a message that is kind of illuminating for me in this moment. So I'll leave you with that, and I'll check back soon, like at some point in the future.